Welcome back to the Flaherty Solutions podcast. My name's Kevin Flaherty, and this is
Erin Flaherty.
Oh my goodness, I never would have guessed.
So what are we talking about today?
Today we are going to talk about franchise update. Woot woot. I know some of our listeners were clued into our rental and what we were doing on the rental side, so we're going to give you a rental update because we want to help you grow wealth, and we are going to show exactly, put our cards on the table, what you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so
and
we're not
going
going
to go wrong and what can go right.
And not be bashful about
Right.
it. And finally, we are going to talk about the crab pot and what that is and why you need to be aware of it from a success standpoint and who to leave behind, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to make sure that you share this with your friends that are entrepreneurs, that are, might have some job insecurity right now with everything going on, that might be thinking of venturing off onto their own
Have
stuff.
always wanted to own their own.
And I do remember the Rachel Hollis term I was looking for.
Last week when
I did remember it. And then I looked it up. It was toxic positivity. And that's a thing. Look it up. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, let's get right into it. Franchise update. What is going on in your world with the franchise?
So it was about a year ago that I even decided to franchise Flaherty Solutions. 1 year, we actually put everything in motion. It was actually June 17th, I think, was our actual 1 year. I pulled the trigger with a company to make Flaherty Solutions an official franchise. So that was just the beginning of the process.
Yeah.
We became kind of an official, unofficial franchise in the fall, and we have 3 franchisees plus headquarters location. We're about to open a 4th, but that deal's not signed. So we have 3 franchisees, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to call out names. They're all doing great. One is doing phenomenal, and it's because that owner is listening to directions and following the model. Because, would you open a McDonald's to serve tiramisu?
No.
Right. You open a McDonald's to do what McDonald's does, and that's crank out burgers, fries, milkshakes, chicken nuggets. You follow it. You wouldn't be like, I have the best tiramisu recipe.
Yeah.
It's not why you buy McDonald's. So same thing with any franchise. If you decide to buy into one, follow the model. Follow what works. So that's what this owner is doing.
And I'm a great example of why I couldn't buy a franchise because I always want to reinvent the wheel. And I can tell you with my corporate sales jobs, I was always like, they always said, like, here's what you got to do. And you just follow this process. And I was always like, yeah, but if I do it this way, and I was never number one in sales. I was always lacking, always wanted to find the next job because this one wasn't working out. So I'd never been good at just following a model. So that's something you want to know.
And that's 100% why I was successful in my mortgage job. Because
that's awesome.
And the owner of the company said that he could have told me to run into a brick wall as fast as I could, and I would have done it. And that's how he's like, if we just told you, like, this is what's going to work,
awesome.
I would have run into a brick wall, like with no helmet. So follow directions. If you're buying a franchise, if you're thinking of buying a franchise, just follow what works. You don't have to reinvent it.
Yeah. You're still going to have tons of flexibility and stuff like that, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, flexibility is the name of the game. And people are still very interested in our franchise model because you can do it all completely from your home, including training. And with the uncertainty in the world right now, everything needs to be remote. So everybody's really jazzed that bookkeeping is not going away. The need for financial services is not going away. So we haven't skipped a beat.
It's been incredible to witness. And this is the flexibility we were talking about. We're actually shaking our head at our little one, and you're still running a very successful company.
Yes. Kids are home all the time.
To me, it's amazing that, okay, I'm in the money gathering business. That's what I do for a living, is I meet people and I bring in money. That's what I do. Mine has come to a screeching halt. To a degree. I shouldn't say that. Compared to, I guess I'm still bringing in. And when I think about it, yes, I'm doing. But I can't do what I used to do, which was go business networking and go to happy hours.
Take a ton of people boating.
Take people boating. I can't do what I historically have. And luckily, my connections have still worked out for me. But I would say I'm probably down on normal percentage-wise.
Okay, you wouldn't be you would be growing more if we were in the middle of a pandemic.
Correct. It's been good and all that, but I'm definitely not as growing. Like, it's a little depressing when we have our like 6 o'clock. Like, how was your day? Oh, well, I just brought in 2 new clients, and California, we got another California caller, we got another Texas caller. There's all this action happening, and it's like, wait a second, isn't the world still shut down? And the amount of people that need books is just, I've always been jealous of the model, is what I'm getting to. Is I have to like beg people, like, don't you want to work with me? Come on, like, I'm a great guy, I'm a great advisor. Come on, let's go, let's do this. And people are just like, hey, I need your service, can we go?
That's the thing, and I wasn't even going to say this, but with our model, if you buy a Flaherty Solutions franchise, your phone is ringing. I've never had to pick up the phone and call a client to chase them down. They call us when they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
So the model is we market with our special way. They call us, and when they call us, they're ready.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And if you're thinking about other franchises spreading your wings and flying into this market, I mean, we're in a global pandemic, and this is still showing success. It just baffles my mind, and it
Taxes are still due.
makes it difficult to win the income competition
Oh, we should
game.
talk about that. We don't have to talk about numbers, but Kevin and I have always, to keep each other pepped up, we've always had an income contest. And it's basically because we're both paid on production.
Yeah.
We're both...
No salaries, nothing.
No, we haven't... When's the last time you and I actually had a salary?
2012, 2013?
I had one until Parker was one, but I was still running the business on the side. Like, I had a job
So
with a
2013,
salary.
2014.
2014 was the last time.
Gotta
Either
eat
one of us.
Eat what you kill.
Right. So we've always been like that. So the last few years, just to keep the motivation going, we have an income contest that is just, and it's harder with mine to track just because I have business expenses, but we have rules that basically says like,
she's winning.
Here's your
That's what the rules say.
I won
She's
last
winning.
year for the first time.
And she's totally going to win this year.
I'm going to crush you this year.
Yeah.
But if you keep YouTube going.
Yeah. YouTube's another new source of income.
YouTube is pandemic
Money,
friendly.
money.
And it's pandemic friendly.
Yeah, it is pandemic friendly.
I mean, as long as grocery stores are open, or you kill a cow and keep it for a year, or you bought a cow last year, not kill a cow.
Yes. I had my
we have a cow.
hunting paint on, and I was stalking this cow for days.
It goes with your beard.
Thank
Hunting
you.
paint.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done with franchise?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm pumped. I like pumping it, cheerleading it more than you do, I think, sometimes. All right, let's talk about our rentals.
So little recap in case you haven't been listening all along, which it's okay. We had one rental property, which was actually the last house we lived in.
Yep.
Was our first rental property. So it was kind of easier to...
And so background on that, we never wanted to be landlords. Ever.
You didn't? I feel like you did, and I was
did
resisting.
I did in theory, but I didn't want to climb the mountain. I don't want to do the work. I just want to have the money come in. Okay? So that's a little background on me. I don't want to climb the mountain.
Yes.
I just want money to come in. But anyway, It was kind of ridiculous to sell this house. We had to keep our first house as a rental, and it's been awesome.
When you said to sell it, we never even considered selling it, I don't think.
We never did
because we knew that our mortgage payment was low enough that we were like, okay, we can make this work. Like, we can afford that mortgage and this house if we needed to. We can qualify. You have to qualify with both if you want to do it.
See, I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it like it would be stupid to sell this. Because we would have only walked away with like maybe 40 or 50 grand.
Okay. Well, and we live on an island where they're running out of real estate. Like, they keep developing it up, but there's only so much real estate. So we decided to rent that instead. We had 5 showings. Oh, I priced it a little high.
Yeah. Always, if you're thinking of this landlord game, always start high.
Start high, because you can't start low and then ask for more. So I started a little high. We got almost no hits the first week. So then I reduced it a little bit, and we got like $100.
Oh, okay.
$100 a month.
Yeah.
110 to be exact. So that we're like, it's almost like the $9.99 deal.
Yeah.
Like, so $110. I got a bunch of hits. We had 5 showings the first week, the week that I actually priced it right.
Yeah.
And 4 out of 5 applied. So we had 4 applicants. We chose one who is in construction. He's actually done a lot of work on this house, and we're very happy.
Yeah.
If you want his information, if you're local, let me know. I'll give it to you. We're really happy. But he was like, look, I don't like to move. I have 4 children. We want to be in this house forever. So we're like, awesome. He's like, if something breaks, he fixes it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not calling us for light bulbs or
knock
anything.
on wood, we're super lucky
yes,
there.
We're really happy with that. So then we picked up a property for the low 100,000s in January. So this is where our update comes in.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, we bought this house, and we don't owe a mortgage on that. So we got it rented very fast. That said, I don't think we've given an update where there were about $4,000 to $5,000 in repairs that we didn't anticipate.
I think that was, so we got 5,000. We negotiated 5,000 off initially to buy the house, and they did it, and yada yada yada, and then we ended up having to replace the HVAC unit, which we kind of
was
like,
another $2,000.
Okay, and we had other things, so it was a total of $5,000 to $6,000 instantly of upgrades, which we knew
was a possibility.
Yeah, and
like,
so
you just have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
You can't think it's going to be. You don't ever expect it to be perfect. It won't be. If it is, thank your lucky stars. But always be prepared for expensive surprises. Yeah. But I mean, we got it. We still got
We got it so cheap.
All in under 120,000, which I didn't think existed anymore for a 2-bedroom, ready to move in condo. Yeah. We were very big on, like, we don't want a fixer upper. Now that we're renovating our house, like, you can see we have lighter countertops. Maybe you can see. We're more comfortable with.
We're ready for a complete, like,
I don't know if we're ready for that.
Well, we don't want to, but we're ready.
We're not afraid of construction now.
Yeah.
We were before. So that rental, we got it.
We're ready. We're totally ready.
So we got a renter in there for a price that Kevin and our realtor did not think we would get. They were like, there's no way. And I did my price it high. I got bites. I was still getting bites on it. Even when she moved in. She is a house cleaner for a living and a business cleaner. So during COVID, she got hit really hard.
Yeah.
So ultimately, here's the
down and dirty.
Down and dirty is that, first of all, every month I do have to nudge her for rent. Like, before COVID, after COVID, we're still in COVID, but I have to be like, hey, it's time to pay your rent. It's 5 days late. And she sends it over. During April, she couldn't. So ultimately, we ended up forgiving April's rent. So it's one of those things where the way you look at it, did we get the price that we wanted? Yes, we do.
Yeah. Bright side. Toxic positivity here.
And it also could have sat for months, and we would have gotten no rent, and it didn't. We got her in. We got her in 2 weeks after we closed.
Yeah, it was unheard of, like how fast everything moved.
Right.
And but we do want to just remind people, because we get a lot of questions about rentals. We get a lot of questions of like, oh, I don't really want to be in that game. And our thing was, you have to keep spreading. If you have one income source coming from one direction, you got to create another income source.
Because look how fast people's one income source went away the last 3 months. Like, look how fast it can happen. And we even looked to get another rental property recently, and we realized that it's just not the right. Like, you might hear this and be like, yes, I'm going to do it. Sometimes, like right now, it's a seller's market, which means if you're buying a rental property, the deal is not in your favor. At least where we live, probably a lot of places.
Not everywhere, but most places, like, real estate's going. The last thing, I'll finish up with the rentals before we move on to the next one. The reason we're giving this to you is, we've had a pretty rosy picture, but we also haven't gone in with rose-colored glasses like what you see on HGTV and stuff like that. I edit for my YouTube channel. It is really easy to edit out the stuff you don't want seen on camera. And that's what I feel like people see home flipping shows. They see there's going to be tough parts to anything worth doing. And don't believe like, oh, we can just flip, we can do. You can, but there's going to be a big learning curve, and you need to go in with it with that anticipation
and
or expectation.
And not maybe as frivolously, but it's sort of like gambling, where it's like we have to. I mean, I hear evicting people is a nightmare. I mean, we have friends that have lost $24,000 in a year because they had a bad tenant and had to evict and
Well,
still
and
had to pay a mortgage.
And we barely saw this place. Like, our renter Zoomed us while she was walking through it, and we bought it, and we literally could have been in it for a week, and then, like, all of a sudden, like, oh, the plumbing's bad, this is
it
bad.
did pass
So that's
inspection.
the gamble.
It did go through inspection, though.
Yeah, but they can't, like, knock down walls and stuff like that
No.
in inspection. So all of a sudden, like, termites. Anyway, it worked out, and
Right.
let's...
You hope for the best, expect the worst, be
Yeah.
prepared, be able to afford the worst
Yeah.
is the biggest thing. Don't just go buy a property because it sounds smart. You go back to our budgeting episodes, go back to our be crazy frugal episodes, because that's how you build and make sure that you can, I mean, you have to sacrifice to have that nest egg to then be able to make mistakes or to live through mistakes and things that just go wrong.
Yeah, because it'll happen. All right, moving on to the crab pot. What is the crab pot? There's a lot of different, ways you can interpret the crab pot. One of my favorite was Dean Graziosi's. He made millions and millions, and probably is getting closer to being a billionaire every single day. And his family was seeing his success, but they were also like, oh, come back in. Like, he was trying to escape the crab pot, and his family was like, no, like, you shouldn't be risking that.
Remember where you come from.
And don't
forget us.
And it was just negative, and he couldn't listen to it, and he had to escape all that noise. And I just feel on so many different levels right now, there's a lot of crab pot going on around us, from money to politics. Oh my God, don't get me started.
Nope.
To people, like, we're hitting that age where a lot of our friends will start getting divorced. Like, there's always been that late 30s to mid 40s that, the kids have gotten a little older, and then the spouse looks at the other spouse and like, what are we doing?
Yeah, well, and we talked about, like, COVID.
COVID's like
making people
and
hate each other.
So as people, I personally think the divorce rate is going to go through the roof here in the next 24 months. Even if people made it through COVID, there's going to be like, oh my God, like, that was so stressful. I'm still resentful of how you treated me through COVID. There's going to be a prolonged, I think, acceleration of divorces. And there's going to be people that get divorced, and they paint the picture, the crab pot picture of it is nicer to be single.
Oh.
It is nicer. They're painting the grass is greener picture. And that's where I really want our listeners to be careful of, is the grass is not always greener.
Right.
So crab pot to grass is greener, make the connection. You just got to be careful.
Well, yeah, be careful of your influences.
Yes.
Be careful of who you're taking advice from. Or just, we've talked about it before. If you're thinking of starting a business, don't take advice from someone who's never started a business and succeeded at a business. Like, don't
or do.
I'm sorry. Who's never. Don't take advice from someone who's never started or succeeded. So
and I'm the worst offender of that. I'm like, oh, you were in the Army for 20 years? Let me ask you about this business.
Really?
Oh, I'm terrible at it. I'm like, because I'm like pie in the sky sometimes, hopes and dreams, fairies and unicorns.
We've also talked about how haters too. Like, if somebody is jealous of your success or how you're progressing and succeeding, they have never been as far as you.
Yeah.
Because anybody who has put blood, sweat, and tears into something and actually made it will never, ever, ever be negative towards somebody who's trying. Like, it's impossible. They know what it takes to get there, and they're going to do nothing but cheer you on. That doesn't mean every idea you have is going to be fantastic, and they might tell you, like, but they will cheer you. The haters have not been through it.
See, I feel like the haters are going to say some negative BS towards your idea, where the people that have grinded through it and are there, they'll give you constructive criticism.
Tactical.
And they'll be like unforgiving. You might walk away and be like, damn, that was rude. But it's not. Like, I'm so tired of trying to help YouTubers that are trying to get their start. I know the flies have just like they're like you smell
They're
amazing.
like, I love your beard too.
Oh
Everybody
my
else
God.
does.
Is that what is that? Is that pine wood in your beard? All right. Sorry for people listening and not watching. But as people ask me for advice, I no longer just give it hours of my time to try to help somebody that's never going to make it. I'm not trying to be rude to them, but it's like, have you put in the other hours? Have you done all the work that I did to get to where I was having this conversation with a bigger YouTuber?
Right.
And I want to see that blood, sweat, and tears before I start like, look, I'm about to take my shirt off my back and help you neglect my family for like 45 minutes to an hour just talking to you.
But if someone will take your advice, won't you help them all day long?
All day
because
long.
It's rewarding to them. It's rewarding to you.
Absolutely.
You've reached a certain level where that 45 minutes, how it would have helped you.
Exactly.
In the beginning.
Exactly.
So if it's well received.
And just my real point was I'll be ultra critical, or I'll cut to it. I won't be too critical, but I will cut to it. Like, here's what you need to do. Here's why your channel's not working right now.
Right.
Where I used to be like, well, if you try this. Now I'm like, look, I got limited time.
Right.
I'm going to get down and dirty. And those are the real circles. Those are the people you want in your crab pot.
Right.
You don't want the ones that are trying to pull you in 200 different directions.
Well, here's the thing. You don't want to be in a crab pot at all, because the
I
analogy with the crab pot is that when you pick a crab out of the pot, the other ones will pull it back down. That's just, they won't let the crab that's leaving leave. So you don't want to be in a crab pot. You want to be leaving the crab pot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So the whole analogy, but you want to be surrounded with people who are aspiring to be great or have done better than you. Want a lot of people in your circle who have done better than you.
Yes,
right? Like,
absolutely.
You want to learn. You should not be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, or the most successful in your definition, you're in the wrong room. How can you be inspired or motivated or get further if you're the best?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But that said, you also want people that have potential that you can coach.
100%. And I think the ultimate point I'm trying to make with the crab pot and grass is greener, all those analogies, I'm painting a picture for you, is my personal opinion is COVID sucked. We're still in it, right? But now money's starting to run out for companies. Now relationships are starting to get rocky. So now you have, companies that can't spend as much money to keep on employees. They're laying off. Then you mix in with your friends getting divorced. Then all these negatives are happening. I always go back to 2008. Things sucked in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13. It took a long time for people. You either, what do pigs do? They wellow. What is it? I'm missing the word.
We'll have to give another word, vocabulary update next week.
But they wallow.
Oh, wallow. Okay.
In their misery. Well, pigs don't, but you don't want to be wallowing in misery. You want to react, and you want to react to, okay, I just got laid off. What's my next job? Okay, things are crappy, going through a divorce. I can't even imagine it. Like, my friend's going through it. How do I move forward? How do I help just take action? Take action to my next best life, because you don't want to be the person in 2012 still like, I had a great finance job in 2008 and now it's just gone. Sipping, dollar beers because that's all you can afford. You want to be taking action. You want to surround yourself with the people that have foresight, that are energetic and moving forward.
Well, let's sit with the marriage thing real fast. You think the divorce rate is going to go through the roof? I think I agree with you. So you and I have been ultra intentional lately about who we're surrounding ourselves with, because we admitted the last couple of weeks, it's not last couple of months, it's not been easy, but it's been a struggle for us to get along. Oh. So we've been extremely intentional about, we could easily say, well, look, everybody else is getting a divorce. I guess this is the way we're headed.
Yeah.
It would be so easy to just be like,
crab pot.
To just be resigned.
Yeah.
like, ooh, well, that person's moving out. That must be really nice to get a new
Yeah.
apartment and get weekends off from kids. I mean,
Yeah.
that we could
Yeah.
easily do that. But
Weekends off. You didn't tell me there were weekends off.
that is the best part of divorce is weekends off. Okay.
Just spiked up that divorce rate even more. No, but
you get what I'm
I
saying.
get exactly.
We could have easily, and we still could. We still could choose to do that. To be like, I guess that'll be us too.
Yeah. And it's easier for your brain to go to the path of least resistance, right? Like, ooh, weekends off. Like,
Right.
you can easily, but you have to train your brain being like, what's the greater picture here? Having a stable, household for our kids to grow up in, having a loving, bonding connection. Like, how do I work on that?
Right. That's
Instead-
way easier. And we've been fortunate that we haven't had any like bombs. We haven't had anything.
It's way harder to do that when you're mad at each other.
Right.
But it's way easier than suffering through years of divorce.
Well, and okay, so you and I, okay, we're not connected, whatever, like it just feels stale, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we go through divorce, which is really hard.
Yeah.
And then we start dating other people, and it's so easy to bond a connection with someone you don't have that history with because you don't know their crap yet.
Yeah. They got
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
They got so much crap.
No, but you know what I'm saying? So how much energy does it take? And you and I are fortunate. We haven't had any big bombs.
Yeah.
Like it's been pretty rosy. But how much easier is it for us to just say, you know what, let me take a step back, and try to see the guy that I saw 12 years ago.
Yeah. In the big picture, that's easier, but in the moment, it's super hard.
Right.
Because you can let your brain just go like, well, everybody else is like,
Right.
it's super easy.
Well, and you and I, we always like the next thing.
Yeah.
So it would be easier.
We're always like, where are we moving next? Where are we doing this? Thank God we're like...
That we're not like that with each other because we like ditch everything else.
Yeah. But like thinking about like dating other people is like horrific. Like, ugh.
Well, and Karen and I have had conversations before where we're like, look, we may not be like completely just wild about each other right now, but we've built so much together that for right now, we're just going to be like, look, we're business partners. Like, I'm just going to compartmentalize you as like my business partner because to split everything and go through all that and like sometimes we're just...
I'd beg to differ. I'm wild about you right now.
I know. I'm wild about you today and maybe yesterday. We're good.
No, yesterday was not good.
No, it wasn't?
No, it was.
No, today we're extremely wild about each other, which is great. Let's keep that going.
Yes.
It's easy to keep momentum. Whether you're talking about marriage or business, it's easy to keep momentum going no matter what. Are we good?
Yeah. Stop asking if we're good. We were good like 2 minutes ago, but now it's over. We're like, the momentum is gone. Stop asking, are we good?
Momentum is easy to carry through no matter what you're in. So if you're working out every day, it's easier to keep working out than it is to stop. But if you haven't worked out in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, it's easier to keep that momentum going.
Yep.
So whatever your be aware and intentional about your momentum. Is your marriage going in a positive momentum or a negative momentum? Because whatever that is, it's going to be easier.
Yes. And you have to force yourself to like remember that momentum and be like, okay, I was nice today. Like keep that up. Like be sweet. You ran home to like buy flowers when you were first dating. You bought nice stuff. Like remember that. And don't just remember it, take action. Little things, little sweet things. And did we just become a marriage counseling?
That means every time we have a bit of trouble, we're going to have to admit it. But be aware of your online influences as well.
That did get weird. That got weird.
That we became marriage counselors?
We are not. We ramble, and this is where it went today.
And we are a married couple who's been together a long time with kids who just survived, many months of quarantine together. Yeah. And we realized that it's not rosy all the time. And I don't think we're alone.
No, we're not.
That. So be aware of your online influences too. I make sure, we've talked about how I've been super spiritual the last few months. Like I have the Jesus Calling app every day. That's a better influence than
the news.
Just insert name of man hater here. Even though I'm still a man hater, but
Yeah, there's too many, like, let's be honest, there's too many man haters
I know,
that
and I'm
have their
definitely
own, like,
one, but
podcast now that it's all of a sudden it's like, I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I don't know.
Feminism to a new extreme.
That's not feminism. That's like man hating.
It is man hating.
So, know what you're listening to. Know the difference. Okay, let's leave it there.
We good?
We're good. We will see you guys soon, and we love you.
Yes.